Fiji FM is #1 in Singapore.
और किसके सुनिए यार, हमारा एक सच्चा साथी है मिर्ची एफएम लंबा साथी.
I love Mirchi FM. It's so hot.
देखे में लाल लाल, खाए में हाय हाय. Tangi taupo में Mirchi FM is hot.
Here at Rugby Town, Singatoka, love listening to Mirchi FM. Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Suva.
It's hot.
हम इंग्लिश लंबासा में रहता है, तो क्या बताइए हम मिर्ची एफएम सुनता है.
Mirchi FM, बहुत जुलूम जुलूम.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Tonight, Fiji Airways pilots still grounded. Diplomats workshop talks foreign policies. And major supermarket fire averted. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. Fiji Airways has completed an internal investigation into the cause of the hard landing in Australia 2 months ago. Although the aircraft, which suffered damage to its landing gear, is now repaired and has resumed operations, Fiji Airways CEO Stefan Pickler says the matter will not be swept under the rug. Ellen Stahls has more.
On March 18th, a rough landing caused enough damage to render a Fiji Airways plane out of service. Now the fate of the pilot in command at the time of the incident is with the management.
When this investigation started, the pilot has been grounded. Grounded means he was not on roster, not flying, yeah? Okay? And, I've received the final report of the internal investigation on Wednesday, yeah? And now we are working through it and making management, deciding on management actions to make sure that we don't have the same incident again.
Pickler adds the investigation was done internally and as independently as possible.
Like in every airline, things like that happen, and then what you do is you have an internal investigation. So you have somebody who is not part of all that. It's our case, it is the head of safety and security who does an independent investigation, internal investigation, reporting only to me and the board.
When asked about the total cost of the damage, Pickler declined to make any comments, saying that all the numbers haven't been consolidated yet. Although the investigation has concluded, Pickler says there is still some digging left to be done.
Of course we will. We cannot just ignore and move on, say thanks, the aircraft is back, let's forget about it. We cannot do that. So we have to work on it. We have to look what are the root causes, and then we have to dig into that and we have to make the right calls. Yeah. But I will not at any point spot to somebody and say he had this kind of contribution to that. This is not nice and this is not fair. We're all human beings. We're all sitting in the same boat. We try to operate a successful airline for a successful country.
A cabin crew member was also injured during the landing, and Pickler says after spending a few weeks in Sydney, she is now back in the country undergoing physiotherapy. Ellen Stahls, FBC News.
Meanwhile, the airline has renegotiated its loan from the Fiji National Provident Fund. It's been reduced by more than $60 million from the original agreed amount of just over $181 million. Managing Director Stefan Pickler confirms they have made another early prepayment of just under $19 million. The Fiji Airways loan with FMPF now stands at $120 million. Fiji's senior diplomats are in the country discussing how our foreign policy can make more impact. The week-long workshop is being facilitated by Ambassador to South Korea Filimoni Kau and Ambassador-at-Large Ioane Naivalorua. Apisalomedokau with the story.
Held at the former Parliament complex in Veutu Suva, the 4-day workshop couldn't have come at a better time.
This is a defining year for Fiji, with elections in September and a lot of international relations needing to be either fine-tuned or retuned and enhanced.
The Ministry for Foreign Affairs deliberately chose not to include ambassadors and high commissioners in the workshop.
We bring in the number 2 because the number 1, or the high commissioners and ambassadors, are more or less that helicopter view. They look at things at the broadest level. in terms of Fiji's foreign policy. But if we have to walk the talk, these are the people. These are the people who actually do the walking in terms of interacting with their host countries, wherever they are on the face of the globe, and also in terms of getting back to their line ministries back here in Fiji.
Litia Maui, the Pacific Roving Ambassador, adds these diplomats will also plan ways to improve Fiji's image around the world.
Apart from the advocacy that the increase in the number of, for instance, the new missions that have been set up, there's going to be a 19th mission set up in Geneva in June. So apart from that, the actual advocacy, that the partnerships that Fiji is into, people-to-people relations with the countries of accreditation. And apart from that, the focus that the small island states, or what we normally call PCs or SIDS, in terms of sustainable development.
The workshop will also discuss the implementation of the 2014 Annual Corporate Plan and preparations for the 2015 ACP meeting. Apisolome Doka, FBC News.
A late-night bakery fire has disrupted businesses for some shops at the Superfresh complex in Tamavua, Suva. Josephine Navula reports.
A team of fire and police officers were at the scene first thing this morning to determine what started the fire at this popular bakery and fast food outlet.
The call, he advised us that flames and smoke had burst out of MH Superfresh. However, when the team arrived, they could see smoke and flames bursting out of the restaurant, MH restaurant. Instructions were given to the team to aggressively fight the fire and contain it there, because once it would have spread, then it would have resulted in the whole premises.
The fire authority received a call from one of their own last night.
We got a call at 21:52, and like I said, when the caller who made the call was also an off-duty fireman who was passing the area, and he saw the core flames and thing in that area, and because he's working in Singapore, he made a call and said that Superfresh was on fire, and we responded. We were there in say 3 or 4 minutes.
A liquor outlet and a cafe housed in the same complex remained closed today. The MH Superfresh supermarket, however, was operating normally. The operators of the bakery and supermarket, Maurice Hedstrom management, could not comment as investigations are still underway. Josephine Navula, FBC News.
Coming up, using local talent to raise funds for charity.
Today FM is #1 here in Singapore.
We love Today FM in Lambasa. It rocks!
My favorite station in Nandi is Today FM.
Listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks in Suva.
Loto kasi di love today's kid music.
I love Today FM because they play all my songs.
We love Today FM at Vuniva Lambasa. Yeah, it rocks!
I love Today FM because it rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. The increasing price of cigarettes has led the Tobacco Control Unit to believe there will be an increase in illegal sales, so they are beefing up their enforcement. Savara Tambor has the story.
An offender was imprisoned last week for 20 days for selling single cigarette rolls after he refused to pay a $1,000 fine. The authority says it should be a warning to those who still sell cigarettes illegally.
It's going to be an alert to us again, as there'll be huge number of people affected, smokers, and at the same time the illegal transaction will also increase by means of selling cigarette rolls. And we would like from the enforcement, Tobacco Control Enforcement Unit, we are beefing up enforcement as well. So if people are still thinking of going away with selling cigarette rolls, let me remind the public that enforcement will beef up, and those found will be taken to task.
Within the first quarter of the year, 135 illegal cigarette sellers were taken to court. 82 were charged for selling single cigarettes.
There seems to be a fluctuation in places, in all the divisions, but we found basically in most coming out of the western and the central part of Vitileau.
A fine of $1,000 awaits those selling cigarette rolls illegally and a $5,000 fine for selling cigarette packets without a license. Also, all tobacco retailers should have prohibition notices of the minimum age of 18 for tobacco purchase, and a penalty of $1,000 is in store for owners of public establishments who fail to put up no smoking signs. Sabira Tambua, FBC News.
The launch of the All Back Home 2014 campaign in Suva encourages Fiji musicians residing abroad to bring their talent back home once every year. The idea is to raise funds for the unfortunate and to encourage local starting musicians. Josephine Navula has more.
The All Back Home 2014 is a proposed one-night concert that would see off about 40 of our respected and seasoned Fijian musicians from overseas raising funds for charity. Executive Officer Nesbeth Hazelman says they are organizing an event that will be remembered by everyone.
And we will showcase a show that I'm sure that the public of Fiji will talk about for weeks to come. And based on last year's one, we had tickets, total number of tickets was 250. We filled the yacht club with 750 people, if that is a sign to go by. So we expect over 1,000 people at the yacht club this year, based on the success of last year.
He says the planned event will stir memories of how the music scene used to be in the past.
Every Sunday we had a rock concert at the Civic Center. So we'd compete, the band from Lemmy against a band from Samambula. These guys, Sandpoint Drive, we were racial harmony. Next week we come here, those guys play this song, we play this one. So the competition kept on going, you know?
Good competition, yeah.
So we find that between then and now, there was more passion for music then. You know, we would stay up late until we learned the part.
Local renowned musician Seru Serevi says he is gearing up for the upcoming event.
I look forward to this year's All Back Home event. It's on June, and hopefully we reconnect again. And like Nessa said, it's something that is close to our heart. For me, like I said, I've been in the industry as a full-time musician for the last 40 years, and you know, it's something that I look forward to.
The event featuring the visiting musicians will begin on the 7th of June to raise funds and as an inspiration to local musicians and those who are studying music. Josephine Navula, FBC News.
Priyadarshini will be sentenced by the Lautoka High Court on Thursday. Darshini has pleaded guilty to 2 counts of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder in the deaths of 33-year-old Taufa Patolo and her 7-month-old baby Sarah Patolo on December 18th at VCC. She's being represented by legal aid lawyer Ronil Kumar, who has filed a submission to have her serve a non-parole period of 18 years. State lawyer Semi Mbabitu filed his submission in the High Court this morning. He asked for Darshini to serve 20 to 25 years before she is applicable for parole. Justice De Silva has adjourned the case to May 8th when he will give the sentencing. Minister for Tourism Ayaside Qayyum says Fiji has made enormous strides not only in the tourism industry, but as a nation which is heading to the polls on September 17th. While opening the inaugural Fijian Tourism Expo at Denara today, Syed Qayyum highlighted the significant changes that have taken shape in the country. Christopher Chand reports.
This is a chance to show the world what we can offer as a tourist destination and where Fiji is heading in the political front.
For the first time under a truly democratic system, I have to make this plug because it is very, very important. Because for any nation to mature, any nation to be able to have a sustained tourism industry, a sustained economy, peace and stability, we must be able to have the fundamentals in place.
This is Tourism Fiji's first ever expo, giving over 230 tourism operators from across the country an opportunity to showcase their products and services to over 150 international travel buyers.
For the first time, we've had a Fijian Tourism Expo. We've had various other variations of it, but never have we had a Fijian Tourism Expo.
Syed Qayyum told our visitors the tourism industry has received $23.5 million consistently for 5 years. And there are major projects being undertaken to improve the infrastructure.
Investing in excess of about over 70 million Fijian dollars in the upgrade of the airport to ensure that the airport is able to cater for the numbers, to provide more luxury, provide more facilities. Right about July or so of this year, we are beginning the 4-laning of the road coming out of Nandi Airport.
Tourism continues to drive Fiji's economy as the biggest industry. These kinds of expos help generate more growth in this sector. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
Sports is up next. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Good evening in sports tonight. Newly appointed Flying Fijians coach John McKee outlines his plans for June internationals and World Cup qualifiers, and PNG netball target an improved world ranking. Details after the break.
It's always Gold FM for us at Golden Point, Raki.
Gold FM is #1 in Lusaka.
Gold FM is Nandi's best radio station.
It's always Gold FM with us here in Singapore.
Old is gold, and Gold FM is #1 here in Lautoka.
Singapore loves classic hits on Gold FM.
Listen to Gold FM here in Tagua.
We love Gold FM in Ba.
We've got beautiful beaches, people, and Gold FM in Raki.
Lautoka loves the classic hits on Gold FM.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Welcome back to FBC Sports. The Vodafone Flying Fijians hope to be at their strongest next month as the side looks at setting a platform for next year. Tests against Italy, Samoa and Tonga are lined up for June before the all-important World Cup qualifier against the Cook Islands. Fiji coach John McKee says while they want to win all the games, the match against the Cooks will be the main focus. Hendra Singh has more.
It's all about assembling the best team for the June internationals, which is already a work in progress for the Flying Fijians.
We know a lot about our players. We've got a lot of response now. We've sent invitation letters to the really extended squad, probably to about 55 players to assess their availability. And there's been very, very good response, especially from some of our big name players. They're very, very keen to get back here in June.
While the overseas stars are lined up, the local talent will not be banished, as McKee has identified the potential national reps.
We've got a list of probably about 12 local players who are very much in contention for selection. They're currently doing extra work on the licensed training centres, and in the week before that they'll come into camp in Suva here to do extra training in the week before, and then the full squad will be together the week before the test, and then from first week of June we're in test match preparation.
The Italy, Samoa and Tonga matches lie on the radar, but the focus has to be on the Cook Islands, as this will decide the fate of Fiji's progression into the World Cup.
Very, very important game for us, and that's why it's so important that we assemble the best squad we possibly can to make sure that we're successful in that game, and also to start to build our campaign going forward.
Mentor has set his sights on starting on a high in his tenure as national coach. No easy task on hand, but truly achievable with his foresight. Indra Singh, FBC Sports.
With the Digicel Tri-Series taking centre court tonight, the Papua New Guinea netball side is on a mission to improve its world ranking. Currently 18th in the world, the team hopes a good outing at the Tri-Series will help it achieve just that. Chalenda Dakadaka has more.
Coming into the Tri-Series as the lowest ranked side is not a deterrent for the Papua New Guinea team. The Pepes are in it for the long haul as they try to build a core side for the Pacific Netball Series as well as the 2015 Pacific Games.
We're going to go out there and give it our all. And our goal is to try and cut down from the deficit that we had from last PNS. And if we can do that, that'll be good. And anything else is a bonus for the team.
The squad is made up mostly of under-21 players. Taking on higher ranked sides is a big boost for the team's development.
Well, we were invited by Fiji Netball, so we're pretty happy to have a run against Northern Ireland because they're ranked higher than us. They're 12th ranked in the world and we're 17th, so that'll be a good run for us. And if we do well with the Northern Ireland, and we'll change our rankings. So that's a very important game for us too, apart from the Fiji one tonight.
Regardless of the outcome of tonight's match, the PNG side will return a stronger team for its efforts after the one-week tournament. Chalendo Dakadak, FBC Sports.
The Vodafone Fiji under-19 side will play American Samoa in its opening match of the World Cup playoffs in Suva on May 23rd. The competition, which starts on the same day, sees Fiji take on the Minnows at 2:30 p.m. in the tournament opener at the NZ Stadium. Its second game is against New Caledonia on the 25th, followed by the clash against Papua New Guinea on May 27th. The youngsters will then face Vanuatu on May 29th before its last game against the Solomon Islands on May 31st.
Of course, yes, playing at home will be an advantage to the team with the crowd support, and the players will be more confident playing in front of their own fans. They did very well last year, and this is what we are trying to do this year, to the best of our performances and prove to the best.
The winner of the playoffs will qualify for the Under-20 World Cup to be played in New Zealand next year. Liverpool still lead 1 point ahead of Manchester City, who have a game in hand and a better goal difference. If City wins its 2 remaining games, they will win the title, leaving Liverpool to ponder on what could have been. That was your sports for tonight. Good evening.
Ganesha Productions, the producers of Fiji's Dancing Superstars, has become the first local production company to get a tax rebate for its sponsors. Companies that sponsor the show qualify for a 150% tax rebate. Ganesha Productions director Sandeep Narayan says this will make season 2 even more successful.
Someone comes and said, I'm sponsoring Fiji's Dancing Superstar with the sum of this much money. On that, 150% applies to you. So during when you pay a tax, example, if you give $5,000 to Fiji's Dancing Superstar, and at the end when you're paying your tax, you will have exemption of $7,500. So you can save $2,500 on your tax payment to the government.
Season 2 of Fiji's Dancing Superstar will begin production in July. Cool night last night. Will the weather be the same tonight, Trish?
That's true. Last night was pull another blanket night, and it seems like it will be the same tonight as the winds are still bringing that cool air from the south. Now, looking at today's conditions, Suva, Nadi, Lotokamba, Lambasa and Savu all had fine weather all throughout the day and can expect another cool night. Temperatures today, well, Savu was on 28, whereas Suva, Nadi, Lotoka were on 29 and Ba was on 30, Lambasa hit 31. Tomorrow's forecast, well, good news for all 6 major centers and the rest of the country. Fine weather expected all day long, just like today. For mariners, southeast winds 10 to 15 knots and moderate seas, but up to 20 knots and rough seas through the passages. Outlook for Thursday. Find a prep from brief showers over the interior and eastern parts of the larger islands, cool at night. Today's picture of the day was taken by Wally Granville at Suva Point of a beautiful sunrise.
Thanks so much for that, Trish. Recapping the headlines, Fiji Airways pilot still grounded after hard landing. Diplomats workshop talks foreign policies, and major supermarket fire averted at MH Superfresh in Tamavua. This week's question, seeing as how we're progressing towards elections in September, we ask, are the political parties addressing issues of concern to the public? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. That's it from the FBC News team tonight. We'll be back again tomorrow, same time, same place. See you then.
Talita na Radio Fiji 1 na mwira ni nonda bonua. Ando talita kana borro na Radio Fiji 1 singa toka mboleta ni station ni alumatu.
Ando talita kabale una borro na Radio Fiji 1 station ni alumatu elo toka.
Ando talita kabale una borro na Radio Fiji 1 mandi na station ni alumatu.
Au tuko korbo ando borro mo leva na station ni alumatu na Radio Fiji 1. Ando borro na Radio Fiji 1 na station ni alumatu na mandoi tele.
Na Radio Fiji 1 ando mo ibiti na bonga ni BNN.